Hello and welcome to this week's market update. Well, it's been a quiet week, nothing to see here. Well, except Trump winning the election, rate cuts from the Fed, and of course Bitcoin reaching an all-time high. Not just once, but actually 3 times this week. It's been a sea of green across cryptocurrency. Bitcoin's up over 10% this week. There's other cryptocurrencies in the top 10 up 25 and even 30%. So it's been a huge week for crypto, a huge week for risk on assets. And I guess everything seems bullish right now. If we're to look at Bitcoin, I guess first, we'll see in the chart here, very obvious now. We had all our higher lows, higher highs, tested this downward trend, broke through, went to test it, broke back down through, made another attempt to go up, and then absolutely cleared through. We've had 3 all-time highs since. Most recent all-time high being 76,850. How long will that last? We'll see. But certainly very, very bullish case for Bitcoin right now. So what's been happening overall? Well, if we look at the overall markets, again, it's not just crypto that has jumped since the Trump winning the election. You can see here on the far right, the election day, and straight out the gate, you had the S&P up by over 11%, the Nasdaq by nearly 14%, and the Russell Index by nearly 15%. So it is, as we've been saying on the run into this, Trump winning the election would be seen as being hugely positive for business in general. Tax cuts coming for corporations. He's talking about us going as low as 15%. And of course, risk on assets to take off. And we've seen an immediate reaction to that. In fact, before it was even official, Bitcoin had hit its first all-time high. Did another one soon after it was official and has another one done since yesterday. So it's been hugely bullish. But where to from here? What does this actually mean moving forward? Well, there's quite a number of things. So number one, the government aren't going to be as hostile towards crypto. So the incumbents at the moment have been seen to be incredibly negative towards crypto. The SEC has gone after absolutely anybody had anything to do with crypto. They've had this, choke point over banks and anyone that tried to interact with crypto. So it's been hugely negative. And despite that, Bitcoin and crypto has driven forward. Fair enough, there's been a lot of sideways action, but now is the time. And we can see here, Brian Armstrong has put up a tweet saying, welcome to the new members of the American most pro-crypto Congress ever, with at least 219 pro-crypto candidates and counting have now been elected to the House and Senate. Of course, Trump has got, he's won the college vote, the popular vote, they've won the House and the Senate. So all the promises that he's made in the elections, he should now be in position to be able to push through. But it's not like it's just him trying to push through. Both him and Vance, the vice president, are both crypto holders. Trump has his own crypto platform. But also now we see that there's a huge number of Congress who have put themselves forward as being crypto positive. So now there should be a huge opportunity for all the things that Trump said he wanted to do in a positive way for crypto. There should be very little getting in the way. But we'll see. Time will tell. That's number one. Number two, banks will be able to custody. It's highly likely banks will soon be able to custody Bitcoin themselves. Earlier this year, Biden vetoed this, and this would have allowed it. So it's highly likely this will come up again, and you'd imagine Trump will put this through. Gary Gensler, I suppose, probably the most disliked person by the crypto community. Again, at the Bitcoin Nashville 2024 event, Trump vowed to fire the SEC chairman Gary Gensler on his first day in office. Remains to be seen if this will happen, but it does seem highly likely. Gary has been extremely hostile towards the crypto industry. With him gone, the likes of DeFi and crypto are free to run, and we've seen a number of DeFi projects already starting to move significantly off the back of this news. Cointelegraph, will Donald Trump fire Gary Gensler on the first day if he's officially elected president? Whether he does it on the first day or not, we'll see. I'm not sure if that's even in his remit or his power, but certainly would imagine it would happen reasonably quickly once he gets into power. Unrealized taxes won't happen. So this is something that the Democrats were talking about bringing in, that you'd be taxed on unrealized gains, which would be crazy and incredibly difficult for the crypto and any risk on asset space, because you might have bought into a crypto, maybe it's done 10x and might have huge profits, but you haven't sold any, but yet you'd need to pay a tax on that gain. And the only way you could pay tax on the gain is to sell some of the asset that you've just gained, which of course would put sell pressure on cryptocurrency in general. So usually beneficial that this is highly unlikely to come in now. Not only that, but under Trump, taxes are more likely to go down, not up. And of course, that's bullish for, again, risk on assets and crypto in general. Upgrade the Bitcoin ETF. So the SEC has consistently refused to approve an in-kind Bitcoin ETF. So what that means is this would allow investors to exchange their ETF shares directly for actual Bitcoin without tax consequences. So it wouldn't be a buy-sell, it would just be an exchange. We'll likely see this approved now under Trump, which again is usually positive. This is huge, of course. The US Bitcoin Strategy Reserve under Trump presidency, a US Bitcoin Strategy Reserve is a real possibility. And we see a senator here who put out just yesterday, we are going to build a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Why is this important? Well, number one, the US government hold about 200,000 Bitcoin. Up to now, it would seem that it's likely that over time they'd be selling that off, so sell pressure. Now they're talking about building a reserve. So number one, you keep that 200,000. That's the start of your reserve. But then you would imagine it's something that they would add to over time. So that's good. Instead of having sell pressure, we have buy pressure. But it gets better than that. If the US decides to have a Bitcoin strategic reserve, what do you think the rest of the countries around the world are going to think about doing? There's certainly many of them will probably follow suit, which is more buying pressure and more usually positive news for Bitcoin and again, crypto in general. 7, we have individual states will start holding Bitcoin. We've already seen state pension funds begin to buy Bitcoin. If the US does implement a Bitcoin strategic reserve, expect states to follow too. And they've already started. This has already started to happen. We've seen the state of Michigan pension fund. They put 18 million into ETFs, funnily enough, more into Ethereum than Bitcoin, but all positive. We've seen Wisconsin pension fund also buy in. They put in 160 million into the Bitcoin ETF. And here's why all this is important. Within these state funds and pension funds, there's $27 trillion, a huge amount of money. If there's a small allocation of that moved into Bitcoin, again, states the obvious, huge buying pressure, massively positive. And then we have, it's not just happening in the US, British pension fund has also allocated, and they've allocated 3%. This is a multi-billion-dollar Bitcoin fund or pension fund, and they're allocating 3% to that. Again, this is huge, unbelievably bullish. TradeFi is now unleashed, so the US election was the biggest uncertainty hanging over markets. Of course, markets hate uncertainty. One point of huge uncertainty was the election. The election is done. It was a landslide. Obviously, Trump has won, and now the markets are reacting positively. That's resolved. So now TradFi, traditional finance, are free to allocate to Bitcoin. And the belief is that there's a huge amount of money now where they have made decisions or close to making decisions to actually pull the trigger and buy into the likes of Bitcoin and others. So again, massively positive. Of course, to state the obvious again, Fed rate cuts yesterday, another 0.25% down. I expected more to follow, maybe one more this year and many more next year. Again, this is usually positive. It makes borrowing money cheaper. So people that have already borrowed money, in theory, have more money left, companies and so on. They're paying less money down, which means they have more money, which means more money into risk on assets. But also the fact that is the rates are likely to continue being reduced. So again, usually bullish for risk on assets and of course Bitcoin. And soft economy will keep inflation down. So Trump is inheriting a generally soft economy. This means he can keep interest rates low without increasing inflation. And to state the obvious, all of these are incredibly bullish for Bitcoin and crypto in general. And here's more positive news. So in October, the Bitcoin ETFs bought over 81,000 Bitcoin. In October, there was less than 14,000 Bitcoin were mined. This is about a 7x difference. So basically, all the new coins coming into the market that could potentially create a downward pressure, not only are they being bought up, 7 times more than that were bought up in October. So usually taking the supply off the market, creating that upward demand. Again, we know what happens with price then, and of course we're seeing exactly that. That was October. What's going to happen in November? Let's see. So we've seen this chart many times. Is this what's happening next? Well, so far it has played out exactly as we have been predicting, from the point of view of once we get to elections, we see Bitcoin take off. Is it going to be all bullish from here? At the moment, you'd have to say yes. But of course, the one certainty we have in cryptocurrency is that it's usually volatile. This won't just go up in a straight line. There will be pullbacks. Maybe there'll be some big dips along the way. And who knows? There can be a black swan at any given time. And of course, by definition, they're, unpredictable, and they can have a huge effect on volatility and therefore, of course, price in either direction. So where are we at this stage? Of course, it's probably the most bullish time we've seen in Bitcoin in many, many years, possibly ever. Are we likely to see a big upside from here? You would have to think so. Will there be volatility? Absolutely. Is Trump in power right now? No. There's, the Democrats are in power for another 2 months. Who knows what happens in those 2 months? Expect a lot of volatility between here and then and beyond. Again, we know crypto and risk on assets in general can be incredibly volatile. Be prepared for that. And so if you were in crypto and you are looking to add more or look at your overall portfolio, make sure you've looked at the videos we've created that are already out and some more coming very soon that can give you an idea of, how you can position yourself for this. That's incredibly important moving forward. And this is an unbelievable opportunity, potentially generational opportunity. You want to get this right, educate yourself, take time. Don't just dip in, dip out. Try and give this some time. I know everyone's very busy, but I would tell you now, get this right, and it could be absolutely game-changing for you. So, look into the market, look into the possibilities, look at what your portfolio is, whether you're just starting off or you have a portfolio for months or even years, and make sure you're in the right projects, do the research, have real conviction in the projects you've bought into, because there will be volatility, the market will try and shake you out, but other than that, this is a huge opportunity. Enjoy what's going to come, get it right, and change your lives. Talk to you all very soon.